Here we go. Okay, so yeah, y'all, I did send you all an email. Actually, I sent it out yesterday. Or an announcement through Blackboard. Excuse me. So, let's see, tonight, excuse me, what we're doing tonight, y'all, we're going to go over the review. There's 41 questions on the review for the final. The review for the final, y'all, is due by 7 o'clock next Thursday. The final exam itself has 20 questions that I took directly from the review, okay? So every question you're going to see on the final came directly out of the review. There's 41 questions on the review. There's 20 on the final. The final will be ready, y'all, by Friday by noon, and it'll be due by 7 o'clock next Thursday. So you don't have to start it at noon on Friday, but whenever you're ready, it'll be available that early. Here's the final exam review sheet. And then right here, y'all, there is a link. And maybe I should do this part here in blue so it's just a little bit easier to see. But this is the link for Zoom right here. And so I'll probably fix that and I'll send it again to you guys in the next day or so. But there's a Zoom link right here. So all you got to do is click on it and it'll open it up so that we can do a review session. So like I said, y'all, I got 3 college algebra classes. And so everybody's taking roughly the same final exam. And so if anybody's available or interested in doing another review session, I will have one on Thursday at 6 o'clock, okay? So let's see, where are we? Let me see, here we go. I was printing this thing. Oh, it hasn't printed yet. Okay, no. Let me see. Here we go. Let me try printing this thing one more time. Let me get out of here. Okay, so let's try this one more time. And let's see if we can print the entire homework assignment. There we go. That looks like this is working now. Yeah, metal. Okay, so let's print this thing. We'll save it as a PDF. And we'll save it right here. Okay, so we got that. And we can minimize this. And then we can come over here. Start a new page right here. And let me see, let me come to my fall 2021. And here we go, final exam review. And let me print this thing to my OneNote. There we go. All right. Okay, so like I said, y'all, the review has 41 questions, and then the final itself has 20. So there's not like a ton of questions on the final. I didn't really want to make the final much longer than any of the other tests have been. So one thing I did want to mention is that, remember, I did pull the 20 questions directly from these 41. So if you know how to do these 41, then you should be good to go for the final itself. And so what I really wanted to do this afternoon is just answer any questions that you guys have out of the review. I want to make sure, Lotto, you can still hear me. It looks like you can. And we are recording. Okay. So those of you who are watching from home and those of you who are here, if there's any questions y'all want to ask me, let me know. Like I said, I am going to do another review session on Thursday. So if there's something that you catch between now and Thursday, let me know. Anything? Any questions anybody wants me to do? I know we just got off of Thanksgiving, so I don't necessarily anticipate a lot of us have time to go over this. We're doing family stuff. Meetings, working. Of course, which one? 2, of course, yeah. Let's do number 2, y'all. So number 2 says solve the equation using the quadratic formula. Okay, so we're going to do number 2. The first thing I want to do here, y'all, actually is here in the announcement, I did send you guys, I did put the link for the formula sheet for the final exam. So when I open it up, it'll be right here, and I'm actually going to open this up here. Here we go. So here's my final exam review sheet, and this problem is asking me to use, there we go. This problem is actually asking me to use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to use this formula right here to do our problem. So let me come back to number 2, and we'll go ahead and get this set up. So in this problem, instead of x, we have r, but I'm going to write it the same way. R equals negative b plus or minus, let's see, b squared minus 4ac. Everything is being divided by 2 times a. And so remember, I'm trying to find my a, b, and c's based on the numbers in front of the r squared, the r, and the constant. So I know my a number, the number in front of the r squared is a 1. My b number, the number in front of the r is a 3. And my c number is negative 6. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start plugging and chugging. So we're going to go r equals negative 3 plus or minus big square root 3 squared minus 4 times a times c. Okay, there we go. All over 2 times a. Okay, so all we did, y'all, is just take the numbers a, b, and c and plug them in where the a, b's, and c's were in our formula right here. Okay, so now we can start to simplify. So let's see, this is going to be negative 3 plus or minus big square root, 3 squared is 9. When I take negative 4 times 1 times negative 6, that's actually a positive 24, all over 2. So this leaves me with negative 3 plus or minus, let's see, 9 and 24 should be something like 33, all over 2. And again, here, y'all, just something I want to mention is that there's really 2 answers here on this part. One of the answers is negative 3 plus the square root of 33 all over 2. And the other one is negative 3 minus the square root of 33 all over 2. You can enter it either way. You can either separate them or you can enter them as one answer. And we'll check our answer right now just to make sure that we got it right. But really what I was doing is I was using the quadratic formula based on my formula sheet. So again, my formula sheet, let me get rid of that part. My formula sheet is right here. And again, I did provide a link for you guys so you can have access to it. But let's go ahead and check our answer. So let me open this up all the way. And this is problem number 2. Okay, and so we came up with a negative 3 and then a plus or minus square root of 33. Oh, I forgot to do my fraction bar. Let me get rid of all of this first. Okay, here we go. Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 33, and everything was being divided by 2. Okay, and we can check our answer, and you can see that we got it. Alrighty. Any other questions y'all want me to go through? Don't be shy to ask us. This is what we're here for. Any questions y'all know, I'm happy to answer. Arira, anything you can think of? Laura, I don't know if you have any questions. I don't know if Antonio's with us today. He usually is. Oh, we got a few folks online today. Claudia, I don't know if you have any questions. Robert, Laura, I don't know if y'all have any questions you want to ask me about the review. Just to remind y'all, I am going to do another one on Thursday, and I did send y'all the Zoom link for it. I'll resend it. But in the last announcement that I sent out, and let me just pull that up. So I don't know if you guys saw that earlier, but I do want you all to be able to see. Okay, so here's the email, and then this, I'll resend it or I'll do it again so this part comes out in blue. At least this part here comes out in blue. But this is the link right here. You can see as I put my mouse on it, it's got the little finger. So you can click on that right there. And I will have that review session on Thursday, y'all, at 6 o'clock. like I said, there's 3 college algebra classes. So I want to do it through Zoom. This way everybody can join in, because if I do it on Blackboard, I can only have one kind of class open at one time. And here, at least everybody can join in. Let's see. Heard something in the chat. Yes, number 5. Okay, so let's take a look at number 5. Okay, it says to solve the inequality. And so one thing I want to point out, y'all, when I'm looking here at number 5, the part that's really important not that none of it's important, that not all of it's important, but the part that's really important is I'm going to look at my little inequality sign right here. Okay, so let me kind of do a better job of pointing to it. I'm talking about that little part right there. And the reason I want to bring that up is when I get my formula sheet, here we go. This part right here, y'all, in the middle, where it says, I'm going to zoom in so that those of you who are watching either here or at home know what I'm talking about. So we basically have like 3 formulas, right? One for absolute value equations when we have an equal sign, one when the absolute value is less than a number, and one when the absolute value is greater than a number. So what I want to do is I'm going to look at my problem. So let me pull it up, number 2 or number 5, right? And again, I'm looking at this inequality sign right here, and then I'm going to compare it to, so it's less than, I'm going to compare it to my 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Problem number 5 looks like a lot like formula number 2 because it has the same direction, right? So this is what I'm going to put. Negative a is less than y, which is less than a. So let's see what I mean by that. What I mean by that, y'all, this is kind of like my a. So I'm going to say negative 5 is less than that whole business inside 2x plus 9, which is less than 5. Okay, so now that we have that, now we can start solving this thing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're trying to get the x all by itself. So we're going to subtract 9, but instead of having 2 sides, we actually have 3 sides. We have the, oh, come on, Tim. Okay, we got the left, we got the middle, and we got the right. Okay, so minus 5 minus 9 is a negative 14, which is smaller than 2x, which is smaller than 5 minus 9 is a negative 4. And then we're going to divide everything by the number 2. So that's going to give me a negative 7 is less than x, which is less than negative 2. Okay, it says type your answer in interval notation. Use integers or fractions for any numbers. Okay, so y'all, when we did this back, and we were probably doing this stuff at home because this was at the beginning of the semester and we were still online for weeks 1 and 2, so we probably did a lot of this business at home. But the numbers that are really important to me here are the numbers negative 7 and negative 2. The next thing is, because I do not have equals, I just have strict inequalities, my circles here, y'all, are going to stay open, right? And since my x is in the middle, I'm shading everything here in the middle. And I used to put like a negative infinity over here and a positive infinity over here, and I'm really looking for the area that we shaded. So if you notice, the area we shaded was everything between negative 7 and negative 2. And because those circles are open, I'm going to write this a little bit better, so not in the middle of that line. Negative 7 and negative 2. And since those circles are left open, I'm going to use open parentheses like this. Instead of square brackets, I'll use the brackets if we would have had an equal to, right? And so now what I'm going to do is, this is my answer for number 5. So I'm going to come back to my problem, and a number 5, that's exactly what I'm going to enter in. So here we are here. Let me go to number 5. Oops. Here we go. Number 5. And I'm going to go parentheses, negative 7, comma, negative 2. And I'm going to check my answer right here. And hey, we got it, right? So the one thing I want to mention, y'all, is, and I'm going to come back to my review, is that when I'm doing a problem like number 5, right, and I'm trying to figure out, hey, how should I do that? Like, what should be my approach? That's when I'm going to pull up my formula sheet and I'm going to say, look, this part right here in the middle looks very similar to what I have on number 5. And then all I'm trying to figure out is, should I use 2 or should I use 3? And the reason I'm saying 2 or 3 is because number 1 is an equation, and we didn't have an equal, but we knew we had that either less than or bigger than. And so that's how I'm able to determine which one of these two kind of steps I'm going to use, right? So Laura, did that work? I know you asked me for number 5. Did that work for number 5? Are we good? Yeah, let's see, I heard something there. Boom. Yep. Okay. Now you're good. You're good. We're just getting started. Any other questions y'all want me to go over? Like I said, y'all, we have plenty of time, and don't be shy. I mean, this is why we're here today, is to go over questions from the review. Like I said, y'all, I will do that other review session. So if there's something that comes to your mind between now and Thursday, join in on Thursday if you're free. Let me know, or send me a message on Prano, and I'll be happy to do a video for you guys and send it out. Let's see, I heard something else in the chat. Let's take a look. Number 8. Yes, Claudia, of course. We'll do number 8. Okay. All right, let me just get a little bit of water. And let's take a look at number 8 here. So number 8 says for the function f of x equals, let's see, what do we have? We have 4x minus 8. We're being asked to find f of negative 6. Okay, so what we're going to do, the way we find f of negative 6 is we're going to come back to this problem right here, and everywhere we have the letter x, we're going to plug in the number negative 6, right? So if you notice, all we did is from here where the x used to be, we put a negative 6 there and a negative 6 right here. Okay, so let's take a look. F of negative 6. First thing, negative 4 times negative 6 is a positive 24. And 24 plus 8 should be 32. So my answer right here, I'm just going to put the number 32. And then I'm going to come back to my problem here, and I'm going to go to number 8, and I'm going to enter in 32. And we're going to check it, and yep, we got it. Good, good, good.
Sir, can you go over?
Ooh, hold on, let me lower that down a little bit. I'm sorry, which one?
Number 9. Can you explain the marrying part? I forgot.
This one here?
Yes, number 9. Yeah, I understand like the domain and the range, but can you go over how you came about how they come together?
Yeah, definitely. So let's take a look at number 9, y'all. So let me do this here, and I'm just gonna check our volume so it doesn't come out too loud again. There we go. Okay, so number 9 says determine whether the relation is a function, give the domain and the range. Okay, all right. So the way we figure out if something is a function, y'all. First off, the numbers in the first set are the domain, and the numbers. Come on, Tim. The numbers in this set are the range. So, so guys, this is the way I learned it, and it stuck with me back in, I don't know, 1992 or something like that, whenever I took college algebra. And so my professor back then said, look, these are relationships, and these things are supposed to be functional. So in order for it to be functional, the people in the domain, these numbers here, have to be faithful to their partners over here. So we say, look, who's 15 hooking up with? 15 is hooking up with 21. 15 is good because 15 is not cheating. They're only going to 21. And then we're going to say, what about 11? Yeah, look, 11 is going to 6. So 11 is being faithful. 11 is not hooking up with anybody else. And then what about number 1? Yeah, look, number 1 is only going to 21. What's really important here, y'all, is that these folks here are being faithful. We're not so concerned about these, but as long as these people are not hooking up with more than one person, then we're going to say it's a function. And because everybody here goes to only one person over here, then it's a function. We're not so concerned that 21 is hooking up with two different folks. We're concerned that these people here are only hooking up with one person. So it is a function. We're going to say yes, right? It's a function. And then my domain, remember what we said our domain is? It's the numbers 15, 11, and 1. And then what's our range? Our range is 21 and 6, right? So, so what I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to come back to my problem here, and we're going to go to number 9, and we're going to say, yep, it's a function. We're going to check it. Hey, we got that part right. What is our domain? We said our domain was 15, 11, 1. We're going to check that part. Okay, we're good so far. And then our range is just 21 and 6. Notice, y'all, it doesn't really care if I put it in order or if I don't put it in order. Like when I did 15, 11, and 1, I didn't have to put them in order. Like I didn't have to put 1, then 11, then 15. The order in which I put them in is not even important. So look, here I could go 6 and 21, and it's still going to tell me I'm correct, right? The order is not really important. So don't worry about, do I need to put them from the smallest to biggest, anything like that? Nah, you don't. Did that work for number 9 and how we were able to figure out whether or not it's a function?
Yes.
So like if I look at 10, let's see, is 10 a function? And again, we'll do the same thing. Let's see, 4, only hooking up with 5. Good. 7, only hooking up with 8. Yes, perfect. 12, only hooking up with 13. Yes, that's a function. And it didn't even ask me to do whether or not, it didn't ask me to worry about like domains and ranges, so I'm not going to. So look, we'll come back to number 10. And we're going to say 10 is a function. Yes, it is. Okay. And then we have number 11, which is right here. So we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to figure out, hey, is this a function? So we're going to go look, 4. 4 is good. 4 is only hooking up with number 5. Oh, settle down. Check out number 7. 7's over here saying, hombre, you're my only boo. And then it's going over here afterwards and saying, hombre, you're my only boo. So 7 is what's screwing that whole thing up, right? It's not a function because of number 7. So I'm going to say no, no baby, because you're messing around. So final check, there we go. Not a function, right? That's how we're able to determine whether, by using the picture, whether something is a function or whether it isn't. The people in the first set, the domain, have to be faithful. That's really the part that's important. The people in the range don't have to be. And then that's something we talked about a little bit later on. Oh man, I don't remember where it was. Probably in chapter 3 somewhere. We did something about one-to-one functions. And when the function is one-to-one, then the range folks have to be faithful too. Okay. So anyway, I hope that made sense. Even if you leave this class and maybe a year later, you'll be able to figure out what's the function or not because it stick with you. Like I said, it stuck with me in 1992. All
Yes,
right.
definitely. I'll remember it now.
That part you're going to remember, right?
Yes.
There you go. Good. Good. Any other questions you guys have? Like I said, don't be shy, guys. I mean, it's just us. I'm going to get a sip of water while you guys think about it. Here we go. Anything? Back this way? Which one? 14, 15? Let's see, I heard something in the chat. Let's see. 17. Yes, Lara, let's do 17, definitely. So let me scroll this way, and then I'll come back up. Eli, we can definitely look at any of those others. Okay, so let's take a look here, y'all. 17 says, use the given graph to evaluate the following expressions. Okay, so first one here says f plus g of 2. Okay, so look, y'all, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to find f of 2, and then I'm going to find g of 2. Okay, so just so we know, f is the blue one, and let me see if I can do it like this. Do we have pink on here? Oh man, more colors. Here we go. Let's go there. Okay, and then G is that one right there. So F is like the parabola, the one that's kind of like a bowl, and G is the line. Okay, so the way we find F of 2 is we're going to do this. We're going to come over here to 2, okay, and we're going to go up until we hit the blue function. So 1, 2, 3, right here. We hit it right there at 4. So f of 2 is the same thing as the number 4. Now, I'm going to find g of 2. So I'm going to come back here to 2, and I'm going to go up until I hit the pink line. 1, 2. Right there, that's 2. So 4 plus 2, that's just going to give me 6. Okay. All right, let's do the same thing for part B. Now, I want you to notice part B. In the middle, it doesn't have a plus. It actually has a minus. So we're going to do this. We're going to find f of 1, and then we're going to subtract g of 1. So how do I do it? I do it the same way. So let me clean up some of this mess here just so we can try again. I'm going to go right here to 1. So here's the number 1. F, remember, is the blue one. So I'm going to start going up until I hit my blue graph. Oh, look, right there, 1. So it's the number 1. Minus, I'm going to do the same thing until I hit my pink line. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what's 1 minus 3? 1 minus 3 is a negative 2. Okay. All right, and then we'll do the same thing for part C. So part C, now if you notice on the inside, y'all, they're right next to each other. That means they're being multiplied. So we're going to say, what's f of 0 times g of 0? Okay. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to use my green. Okay, we're going to start right here at 0. And we want to go up until we hit the blue graph. But if you notice, we're already hitting the blue graph. So f of 0 is the number 0 itself. And then I'm going to do the same thing until I hit the pink line. So I'm going to start here and I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. And so let's see. That is the number 4. So 0 times 4, that's just 4. Okay. And then we have one last one. This one right here. Now notice what we're doing. Since we have a fractional, we're dividing. F of 1 divided by g of 1. Remember how we found f of 1? We went right here to 1, and we started moving up. Oh, look, here's the first one. So that's at 1. And then we did it again. 1, 2, 3. So my number here is 1/3. All right. So now let me come back to number 17 in my review. So let's go here, 17. Okay, so we had 6 for the first one, and we had what? -2 for the next one. -2 right here. And we had 0 for this one. Remember that. And then we had 1/3. So right here, I'm going to do my little fraction. 1 over 3. Oops. 1 over 3. There we go. Check my answer, and hey, we got it. So really what I'm doing, y'all, I'm just using the picture to answer each of those parts, right? Okay. I'm sorry, Adila, you had something from back up here? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just multiple choice, right? You just, once you write it out, you'll pick your answer from there. That's right. No, you're good. You're good. All righty. Let's see. Any other questions? So we just did 17. Anything else from here? Yeah, definitely. Let's do number 19, Muriel. So let's take a look here. It says, use the tables to evaluate the expression g composed with f of 5. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go g composed with f of 5. Okay, y'all, I'm going to pull up my formula sheet one more time because I'm going to say that somewhere in here we go. Whoa, maybe not that close. This part right here, this is what I'm looking at. The way they have it here, see how they have f with a little circle and then g and then x, and then they write it like this? So we're going to put f, g, and then in our problem, y'all, we had the number 5. So I'm going to put f, g, and then the number 5. So right here, or g and f, I'm sorry, because I have g first. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to go g, and then f, and then 5. Okay, so I'm going to do this in pieces. So remember how I do this, y'all? Oh, come on, Tim. The way we find f of 5 is we're going to use this piece right here. And the number in the middle inside refers to the x number. So we say, look, when x is 5, the f number happens to be 1. So f of 5 is the same thing as the number 1. And then when we're going to do this part here, g of 1, we're going to come back over here when x is 1. We're going to find the value of g, which happens to now be 3, right? And so for 19, my answer should be 3. And so I'm going to come back over here, close that up, and let's go to number 19, which is right here. And we ended up with 3. And when I check my answer, hey, we got it. Right? And I know you didn't ask me 18, but I want y'all to notice, y'all, 18 is very, very similar. It's a different table. The letters are written in the opposite order, but that's okay. We can still do it. So we're going to go, look, f of g of 12, right? So do it in pieces. We're going to work from the inside out, right? If we want to do g of 12, here we go. If we want to do g of 12, we're going to use this part right here. When x is 12, g is 10. Oh, man, the 10 is really putting on me today. Okay, f of 10. So now when we're going to find f of 10, we're going to come back over here and we're going to say f of 10 is the number 6. So for 18, my answer should be 6. So I'll come back over here. Let's go back to 18, and I'm going to put the number 6 right here. And we'll check it. And hey, we got that one too. I don't know about you guys, but I really hope I got questions like 18 and 19 on my test. And even 17. You know how to do those now. And the domain. Alrighty. Anybody want 20 or 21? Anybody? Don't be shy. Let's see. There's something in the chat. Let's see. Sure. Okay. So let's
Number
take a look
20.
at. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I saw Laura. Yeah, number 20.
Yeah, let's do 20. And then Robert, you had your hand up. Robert, I see your hand is up. I don't know if you got a question for me. But I can't hear you because you got to turn on your mic right here.
I just had a problems with 5.3, understanding 5.3. That's the one I think I've had the most problems with.
Yes. Okay. We'll definitely go through some of that tonight too, Robert. Definitely.
All right, thank you.
So I'll tell you what. Let's go through number 20, y'all, and then we'll definitely get to some stuff from 5.3. So Robert, one thing I want to mention, I did send you guys, and let me pull this up real quick just so you can see where I'm looking at. So let me see. Let me do this. Okay, so Robert, I'm here on our main page in Blackboard, and if I click on the Pronto link right here, let's see. So it's going to open up, and it's going to open up all the messages that I've sent you guys since the semester started. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, and all right. So guys, this was our lecture, our class from last Wednesday, and I put it in here in the description. But I said from my video that I have on YouTube compared to this video, I think when I noticed when I watched the video for 5.3, I'm kind of writing all over the place. And when I did this one here, I felt like I was a little bit more concise, a little bit neater. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch this one yet, Robert. If you haven't, you know, it'll be there, but I'll definitely do some stuff from 5.3 tonight before we leave. But this right here, I felt like I did this much, much better. And I did both here, 5.1 and 5.3, but when you get to the 5.3 stuff, I felt like I did this part so much better than I did on the YouTube video. And so if you click on that link right there, it'll open it up. And if you do it on your laptop or your home computer, you'll be able to see it. And it's instead of, you know, having to watch it on the phone or whatever, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. All right, anywho, let me come back over here, y'all. Let's take a look at number 20. And it says, use the graph to evaluate the following expressions. All right, so let's take a look at the first problem here. And we're trying to find f of g of, trying to find f of g of 1. Okay, so just like we did before, y'all, we're going to start from the inside out. So g is the red line. Okay, so how do we find g of 1? We're going to start right here at 1, and we're going to move until we hit the red line. So if you notice, we got to go up 1, 2. So that's telling me that g of 1, y'all, is the same thing as the number 2. Okay. Now, we're trying to find f of 2. So how do we find f of 2? We come back to our original problem, right? And we're going to go over to when we hit 2 right there. And we're going to move until we hit the blue graph. So I have to move down 1. Since we move down 1, that's the negative 1. So my answer for the first part on 20 should be negative 1. Okay. Now let's do part B. So I'm going to do part B. I'm going to write g of f of 1. Okay. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to find f of 1. Okay, how do we find f of 1? We're going to come back over here to 1, and we're going to hit the f graph. So the f graph is the blue one. I got to move down. 1, 2. Right there. Okay, since we moved down, y'all, that's the number negative 2. So now we're trying to find g of negative 2. How do we find g of negative 2? We move to negative 2 on the x-axis right there, and then we're going to move down until we hit our g graph. And we move down, and it's only one space, so that one is also negative 1. Okay. Am I doing okay so far? We're good? All right, just checking. All right, and now we're going to do the last part, which is g of 0. So I'm only in this case, y'all, since we're only dealing with g, we're only looking at the red graph. Okay, so here's 0. We're going to move up until we hit our red graph. Well, we've got to move up just one space. So this is g of 1. How do we find g of 1? We move over here, and then we go up 1, 2 spaces. So here are my answers, negative 1, negative 1, and 2. And this is number 20. Oops. There we go. So let's go to number 20. Right here. Oh man, what am I doing here? Oh, this thing opened up. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me close this thing up. Okay, so negative 1 for the first one. Check it. Yes. And negative 1 for the second one. Check it. like Napoleon Dynamite. And then the last one we came up with was 2. So we'll put 2 and check it and pass. Right. So we got those done there. And so that's number 20. Okay. So again, I'm really just, as I'm going through these, y'all, the main thing is I really want to take my time. Like I said, and let me pull this back up one more time so you guys can see what I'm referring to. Let me get rid of that part there because I don't need it. Oh man, here we go. When I get back to the test, let's see, 5 hours, right? So 5 hours is a whole lot of time, right, to get the test done. It's only 20 questions again. And guys, when I put that 5-hour test limit, it's not because the test is going to take you 5 hours. I just don't want you guys to worry about time. So I don't want you to like, oh my God, you know, there's going to be 101 questions. No, I just don't want you to worry about time. Like nobody ever takes 5 hours to do it. You know what I mean? So that's why I put the time like that. And a lot of times I even put 6, just so that again you have plenty of time to get it done. Alrighty. Any other questions for y'all want me to go over? Anything? And Robert, I will get to some stuff from 5.3. All right, let's see. I heard something in the chat box. Let's come back over here. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, good. Good. Robert, I just saw your message right now.
Number 25?
Number which one?
25.
25. Let's do 25. Okay, so let's see. It says describe the end behavior of the graph of the polynomial function. Okay, so let me see. Let me pull up my formula sheet here again. And let me see if I should have this here somewhere. Oh, do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Oh man, you know what? I didn't put it on this one. But let me see. Yeah, okay, I didn't put it on this one, but you know what? I am going to find it because I did have it on the formula sheet for when we took test 2, and I'll edit this guy so that that formula sheet has that stuff now. But let me see. Let me do this here. Where am I trying to go? I'll go over here. Let me go to my OneDrive or my Google Drive. Call algebra. Let's see. Where's my formula sheet for test 2? Right here. Okay, and let's open this guy up. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. This part right here. Okay, so guys, I'll make sure that I do add this part to the formula sheet. So what I'm looking at, y'all, is this part right here, right? And when I come back to my problem of 25, what I'm looking at here, y'all, is what we call the leading term. And what I mean by the leading term is the one that has the highest exponent. So in this case, it's a 3x to the 6. Okay, there's 2 things that we're looking at, y'all. First thing we're looking at is we're looking at the exponent. And we want to figure out, is this exponent even or is it odd? Obviously, since this case it's 6, it's going to be even, right? Then the next thing we're looking at is we're looking at the coefficient, meaning the number in front of that x to the 6th term. And we're asking ourselves, is that number greater than 0, which means positive, or is that number less than 0, which means negative? And obviously, in this case, it's going to be positive. So what I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm going to come back over here. We're looking at an even degree because it was a power of 6. And we said it was going to be greater than 0 because my number in the front was a positive number. So what we're looking at, y'all, is if you look at the end of the graph, on the right side it's going up, and on the left side it's going up, right? So that's really what I'm trying to figure out. That's what problem number 25 is asking me to do. What is the end of the graph going to look like? And since both of those are going up, when I come back to 25, I'm going to say, hey, look at C. And C, both of those pieces are going up. And so when I come back to my problem here, and I do number 25, and let me pull it up for us so we can see it. It's right here. We said choice C because they were both going up, and then we can check our answer, and we got it, right? So that's really what I'm looking at. So guys, I will make sure that I'll update the formula sheet, and I'll make sure that I put this business in here because I didn't have it on there currently. Okay, but I'll make sure that I do upload it or update it. Alrighty. Any other questions? 26, 27. Let's see. There's something in the chat. Oh man, where did we go? Over here. And let's see. 26. Definitely, Lotto. Let's do 26. Okay, so it says find a polynomial of least degree, at least possible degree, having the graph shown. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here. So remember, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write down my x-intercepts. So we have three of them. One is x equals -2. One of them is x is equal to 4, and one of them is x is equal to 6. My x-intercepts, y'all, happen to be the same thing as the zeros of my function, right? So next thing I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to write down what we call the factors. So remember when I'm writing down the factors, what I'm doing is I'm taking these numbers, y'all, and I'm bringing them back to the other side. So look, I'm going to write this as an x plus 2, an x minus 4, and an x minus 6. Okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to start writing out our polynomial. So it's going to look like this. F of x equals, there's always some coefficient, some number in the front, you know, I don't know what that number is. And then with my three factors of x plus 2, of x minus 4, and of x minus 6. Okay. Now, if you notice, we used this number, and this number. But I haven't yet used that one right there. So remember, y'all, the point 0.024 is written in this form, x and y. And remember, this thing here, the f of x, is the same thing as the letter y. So where the f of x used to be, I'm going to put a 24 equals a. Everywhere we have an x, we're now going to put a 0 because that's the number that we got right there. So 0 plus 2, 0 minus 4, 0 minus 6. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 0 minus 4 is -4. 0 minus 6 is -6. Okay, and then I'm going to take these numbers, y'all, and I'm going to multiply them together. So since we have two negatives, we know it's going to be positive. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 6, 48 with an a. And then we'll divide everything by the number 48. And I'm coming up with a being, when I reduce 24 and 48, reduces to 1/2. Okay. All we're going to do now, y'all, is where that a used to be, we're just going to write the number 1/2. So f of x equals 1/2 x plus 2, x minus 4, and x minus 6. And I'm just going to leave it like that. It says leave it in your, or type your answer in the factored form, so that's factored out. I don't have to do anything else. And again, excuse me, this was number 26, right? So let me come back over here, go to 26. So right here, I'm going to go 1/2. And then we had x plus 2, x minus 4, x minus 6. And we'll check our answer. And hey, we got it. Alrighty. Any other ones here, y'all, that you want me to go over? Yes. I'll tell you what, let's do both 27 and 28. Okay, so it says for 27, y'all, it says the function f of x is 1-to-1. We want to find the inverse. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is instead of me writing it as f of x, I'm going to write it as y. Y equals 5x minus 3. Okay, once we do that, the next thing we're going to do, y'all, we're going to switch the x and the y. So we're going to write this as x equals 5y minus 3. All right, so now that we do that, we're going to solve for y. So we're going to go, let's add 3 here and add 3 there. So that's going to be x plus 3 equals 5y. And then since we want to solve for y, we're going to divide everything by 5. And then the last thing we're going to do, y'all, is instead of writing y, we write it using that f inverse notation. So here I'm just going to put x plus 3 over 5. This here happens to be our inverse. Okay, so look, we're going to try this for number 27. I'm going to go fraction x plus 3 over 5, and we'll check it, and hey, we got it, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at 28. So 28 says, use the table for f of x to find the table for the inverse. So remember, y'all, the inverse, what the inverse does is say this. I'm going to kind of give you an example. If I said, what's f inverse of 36? And I was looking at this function here, that's telling you what number did we have to start off with so that we would have gotten 36? And we would say, oh, 6 would have been my answer. So really what we're doing here, y'all, is we're switching the x numbers and the y numbers. So all these numbers here should end up in the second column. So those numbers on the top, 0, 3, and 6 will now be on the bottom. And 0, 9, and 36 would be on the top. And this is my x. And this is my f inverse of x. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what I wrote right here. And I'm going to say, okay, which one of my choices, A, B, and C, looks like what we just wrote? And I would say, hey, it looks like choice C. That looks like what we just wrote, right? So for 28, I'm going to come back, and I know I haven't finished it. We'll finish it in a little bit. So for 28, I'm going to say choice C looks like what we're looking for. Hey, we got that part right. Okay, so now let's take a look now. What's the domain of f? So remember, the domain of f, we're looking still at this part right here. The domain is the set of the x values, which in our case is 0, 3, and 6. And what's the range? Well, the range of the y values, 0, 9, and 36, right? So I'm going to enter that in for the next part. 0, 3, 6, yes. And then 0, 9, 36. There we go. Okay. And there's a little bit more, so we'll figure it out now. Okay, what's the domain of f? So look, y'all, if this is my, or f inverse, I'm sorry. If this is my f inverse, the domain are the x values here. Well, the x values here are 0, 9, and 36. And the range values here are 0, 3, and 6, right? So they're just kind of reversed. So 0, 9, and 36. Zero, 9, 36. There we go. Yes. And then here would be 0, and 3, and 6. We got it. So we did both of these, both 27 and 28, y'all, were inverse type problems, right? And we still got 29 and 30. If anybody's got any questions on any of these two here. Anything? Yes, let's definitely do number 30. So let me zoom in here, y'all. So number 30 says the exponential growth of the deer population in the country can be calculated, and here's the model. Okay, so it says 70,000 is the initial deer population and 0.4 is the rate of growth. Okay, so part A says predict the population after 3 years. Okay, so let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take this equation right here, and everywhere we have, in this case, the letter n, we're going to write down the number 3, or yeah, write down the number 3, because n stands for the number of years. Okay, so look, y'all, just the way I wrote this part right here is exactly the same way I'm going to do this on my calculator. And y'all, whether you have a calculator like this or whether you have one of those calculator apps, it's going to work exactly the same way, okay? So look, I'm going to enter in 70,000, and then I'm going to put times, parentheses, 1 plus 0.04, and then in this case, I'm raising it to the power of 3, and I'm coming up with 78,740.48. I want to see what the way they're asking me to write it. Okay, so look what it says. It says round to the nearest 1,000. So let's think about what that means. Round to the nearest 1,000. This is asking me, is 78,740, is that closer to 78,000 or 79,000? And so in this case, I'd say, hey, this is closer to 79,000. So right here, I'm going to write 79,000. And then, oops, yeah, here it's same spot. And this is number 30. Go to number 30. Here we go. And we're going to type in 79, 1, 2, 3. Check it. Okay, so we got the first part done. Now let's take a look at part B. Okay, it says, what happens now if the initial population was 30,000 and the growth rate was 0.15? Approximately how many deer would be present after 4 years? So I want you to notice, in the first part, the 70,000 was the initial deer, and the 0.4 was the growth rate. Now we're changing that. So from a 70,000, we're going to change that now to a 30,000. So I'm going to write t equals 30,000, 1 plus, remember how the 0.4 was the rate of growth? Now my rate of growth is 0.15. So instead of me writing 0.4, I'm going to put 0.15. And instead of 3 years, now we're looking at 4 years. Again, y'all, when I do this on my calculator, I'm going to enter this part in exactly like I see it, right? So let's try that. Let me clear this out. 30,000 times 1 plus 0.15, close on my parentheses, raise it to the power of 4. Okay, and I'm coming up with 52,470. I believe it's still asking me to round to the nearest 1,000. So what that means is 52,470, is that number closer to 52,000 or 53,000? And we'd say it's really closer to 52. So right here, y'all, I'm going to enter in, or write in 52,000, right? And then I'll come back to my problem here, and I'm going to type 1, 2, 3, and we'll check it. And hey, we got that part right, okay? And now there is a part C. So part C says, how many additional deer can we expect in 2 years if the initial population is 25,000 and the growth rate is 0.05? Okay, so look, new equation now. Initial population is 25,000. The growth rate is a 0.05, and we're looking at this in 2 years. Okay, again, y'all, this part here, I'm going to type it in exactly as I see it. 25,000 times 1 plus 0.05 raised to the power of 2. Okay, so notice the number I'm coming up with, y'all. I'm coming up with 27,562. Again, if I round that to the nearest thousand, that would actually be 28,000, right? But look at the way they worded the question. How many additional deer? Meaning, how many more deer did we get that we didn't already have? Well, how many deer did we start off with? Oops. We started off with 25,000 deer. Now we have 28,000 deer. That means we gained 3,000 more deer, right? When it says how many additional deer, how much did we have to add? In this case, I'm coming up with 3,000. So right here, y'all, I'm going to enter in 3, 1, 2, 3. Check my answer, and hey, we got it. Good, good, good. These are excellent questions, y'all. Excuse me. All right. So y'all, just to give you a heads up, problems like 31, and I don't want to do them. I'm happy to do them. At least problems 31 through 35 are definitely problems that we just did from test 2, right? And then problems like 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 and 41, this is more chapter 5 type stuff, okay? So I'll tell you this, 30, 36 and 37 are from 5.1, and then 38, 39, 40, and 41 are from 5.3. So Robert, I know you said you had some questions out of 5.3, so I'll tell you what, why don't we do like either 38 or 39, and then why don't we do either 40 or 41, and you let me know if that makes any sense. But I do want to, and again, you guys, if we have any questions on any of this other stuff, I'll definitely come back. We'll definitely look at it. I do want to make sure that we have time to go over some of these here. So I'll tell you what, let's do, I don't know, let's do 38. Okay, and it says find the value of the determinant. All right, so let me see. Did I hear something in the chat? I don't know. Okay, thumbs up. Good. Glad this is going to work. Okay, so let's take a look at 38. When we're finding the value of the determinant here, y'all, this is the process. We're going to go along the main diagonal here, and we're going to multiply those two numbers. So we're going to take -3 times -9, and then we're going to subtract when we go along this diagonal. So let me see if I can do this a little bit better, just so that I don't cover any numbers up. Okay, -4 times 2. All right, so -3 times -9 is a positive 27, minus 4 times 2 is 8, and this should be giving me something like 19. Yeah, 19. So my answer here is just going to be 19. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go to problem number 38. Yeah, 38, and the answer I'm coming up with is 19. Tickety check on my answer. Hey, we got it, right? So I'll tell you what, now that we've done that one, now you know exactly how am I going to do 39? The same exact way, okay, the same exact way. So now let me show you how I'm going to do, and again, I'll do number 40 here, y'all, and then once I do 40, then you guys can do, you'll have an idea on how to do 41, okay? So in order for me to do number 40, I am going to come back to my announcement because I do want the formula sheet for my final. Let me open this guy up again. Here we go. Okay. The reason why I'm looking for this is, here we go. Oops. This part right here, y'all, tells me how I can do Kramer's rule for 2 equations and 2 variables, okay? So I'm going to walk y'all through the process. It takes a little bit of time, y'all, but it's not going to be all that difficult. It's just more time consuming than hard. Okay, so I want you to notice how they put A1 and then X and B1 and Y and C1 and A2X and B2Y and C2. So the A1, B1, C1, those are just the numbers in the first equation, and the A2, B2, C2 are just the numbers in the second equation. So they give me an idea of the little formula on how to do the determinants for each of these matrices, okay? So look, let's see if we can do this one here. We're going to find the value of D. So I'm going to come back to my problem here, and we're going to do the D determinant. The D determinant, y'all, just says we're going to use those numbers right there, okay? So I'm going to put a 3 and a 7 and a -3 and a 4, okay? So remember how I'm doing this? I'm going to go along the main diagonal, and I'm going to multiply these numbers together. Minus, it's always minus, and I'm going to multiply those and subtract them. So 3 times 4 is going to give me 12, minus, this is a -21, but minus and minus become plus. So that number is just 35, okay? So on the side right here, y'all, I'm going to say the value of D is 35, okay? Now I'm going to come back to my formula sheet over here, and we're going to do this one. We're going to do dx. I want you to notice what they've done. Remember, where the a and the a's used to be, instead of using those numbers, we're going to use these numbers right here. The b numbers are going to be the same. So let me show you how I'm going to write this part out. I'm going to come back over here. To find the value, I'll do this one in green. To find the value of dx, this is the matrix I'm going to set up. These numbers, 15 and 18, are going to go right there. And then I'm still going to use the 7 and the 4. Okay. Now, how do I do this? The same way we've done before. We're going to go along the main diagonal. 15 times 4 minus whatever 18 times 7 is. Okay. So let me grab my calculator. What's 15 times 4? 60. Minus, what's 18 times 7? 126. So now I'm going to say, okay, well, my value dx, 60 minus 126 should be a -66. Okay? All right. So y'all, we got one last part to do. Let me get my formula sheet one last time. Okay. We're now going to find dy. I want you to notice the a numbers, the numbers in front of the x's, we're back to using those. But these numbers here, instead of using these, we're going to use those c numbers now, the numbers on the other side of the equal sign. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. Okay, we're going to now go and do dy. I'll do dy in blue. Okay. So the a numbers, meaning the numbers in front of my x's, I'm still going to use those. So 3 and -3. But instead of me using these numbers here, we're going to use those numbers. 15 and 8. Or was it 18? 18, sorry. Okay. We're going to go along main diagonal again. Minus these guys. Okay, so let me grab my calculator. 3 times 18, 54. Okay. Minus -3 times 15 is a -45. But minus and minus become plus. This is giving me 99. So now my dy is 99. Okay. All right. So now we have some values. Here's the d. Here is the value of dx. Here's the value of dy. Now, what we're really looking for here, y'all, we're looking for the point where these two lines, if we were to draw them, where they would cross, right? So look, when I come back to my formula sheet right here, it's giving me how do I find the x value and how do I find the y value. The way we find the x value is we take the value of dx and we divide it by d. So the way I'm going to find my x value, I'm going to take the value of dx, which was -66, We're going to divide it by 35. I don't know if we can reduce that. Let me see. 35 and 66. I don't think those reduce because 35 is 5 and 7, and neither 5 and 7 go into there. So here's my x value. Okay. The y value is going to be the dy value over the d. So 99 over 35. Again, that won't reduce either. So what we're going to say now is there's one solution, and that answer is negative 66 over 35 and 99 over 35. What we really did here, y'all, and I'm going to kind of show you, and again, I did this in 5.1, but really what was going on here was we had one line going like this, we had another line going like that, and what we were doing is we were looking for the point where those two lines met. And I didn't draw my picture all that accurately, but this is where the 2 points meet. They meet at this value, negative 66 over 35 and 99 over 35. And it's not real pretty points, but this is one way you can solve these types of problems, right? So look, this was number 40, I think it was, yes. So we said negative 66 over 35 and, oops, I did my fraction right, there we go, over 35 and 99 over 35 and close my parenthesis. And I'm going to check my answer. Oh no, I made a mistake somewhere. What did I do wrong? I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, maybe. Let me see. That? No, still did something wrong. Okay, let me see. Oh man, where did I make my boo-boo? 66 over 35, 99 over 35. 3 and 4 is 12, minus 21. Ah, I know why. I didn't add right. Come on, silly boy, right here. 12 and 31, y'all, is actually 33, isn't it? And that's where I made my mistake. Okay, that's okay. We'll fix it right now. So we're going to say this number here is 33, which means that these numbers are 33, which means that this is a negative 2 and that's a positive 3. There we go. So much better. That's okay. I make mistakes too. So look, negative 2 and 3. So now let me come back over here and see if I can fix that for us. Negative 2 and positive 3. And then now I'll go final check and hey, there we got it. Okay. So I hope that makes more sense on how I did it. I know it's a lengthy process, y'all. I'm hoping that as you see, and again, I made my mistake here. I apologize about that. But I'm hoping as you see that there's a pattern in how I'm doing the determinant, how I'm doing this little kind of cross multiplying. I always go on the main diagonal minus the other diagonal. And it's always all going to be minus every single time. Okay. And so y'all, for these are the problems that you're going to see again on your final. And these do come out of 5.3. I know in 5.3 y'all, and then the class assignment 2 y'all, and I'm going to pull that up real quick so y'all can see that since it's just us here. Let me go here. And I want to go to my weekly folders. And it's not in this week's, but it's in this one here. So y'all, y'all do have class assignment 2. I know some of you have already turned it in and some of you haven't. So one thing I want to mention, y'all, is when like I said, last Tuesday, I did go over 5.3 and I showed y'all how to do these types of problems. And the process is very similar. It's longer because now there's 3 equations with 3 letters. But I went through the process to kind of make it simpler. And then the other thing I did here, y'all, is I put a link to a video that's real similar on how you can do class assignment number 2, right? So if you're wondering how to do it, you click on this video right here. This is going to show you how to do exactly the problem that you have for class assignment number 2. And for class assignment number 2, y'all, I wasn't asking you guys to tell me, like this one here would have 3 numbers, a number for X, a number for Y, a number for Z. For the class assignment, for the written assignment, I just wanted you to do the first part. Can you just do X, right? If we can do X, we can do Y, we can do Z. But because the process is so time consuming, for the written assignment part, guys, I just said, look, just do one part, just do the X. For the homework, you do have one problem that asks you to find X and Y and Z. And that's why I was saying, let me scroll back up here to the top again, y'all, so you can see what I'm looking at. Where is it? Okay, so that's why I said, if you go to the Pronto folder and you do watch that part, and I know Lotto was here with us last week. I did go through the process and how to do the whole thing, okay? And I think the video here, and I'll just click on it so you guys can see it, but I think the video here, and let me see if I can forward to when I got to that part, it's going to be a little bit further. This is probably it right here. Oh wait, no, this is still the 2s. Okay, so this is a part right here where we're kind of going through it, okay? So you can see I'm already working on it, and I'm at the 104 mark, and the whole thing is at 122. So it probably took me like almost 20 minutes to do that one problem. It takes a while to do. I don't want to lie to you and say, oh, it's not going to take any time at all. It is going to take some time to do. But I felt like the way I explained it here, y'all, was much better than what's in the video on our YouTube list. Okay. So again, if you're interested, you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't need to. If you just need to see that one part, starts about 104 and 102, whatever it happens to be. But it's right there. Okay, and I did walk y'all through that process. So let's see. Any other questions y'all want to ask me about anything? Let me get back to the review here. Was there any other problems here that you want me to come back and do? I know I kind of skipped over some of these to get to this stuff, but I just wanted to make sure we had time to do those. Anything? Aridad, you okay? You're good? Okay. What about y'all at home? Any other questions, y'all? Laura, Claudia, Robert? I don't know if y'all have any questions for me. Oh, here we go. Over here. We're good for now? Okay. Like I said, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording the session.